feel like we're in a villain's lair in a Bond movie.
I don't feel very comfortable right now.
My fellow Canadians, please be quiet. Emperor Schwab is about to speak. Please be quiet. Thank you. Thank you. We can all do this together.
Ah, Tiff, my dear friend. The Bank of Canada's meeting is upon us, and you, the esteemed governor, have quite the task. The world's eyes are on you, and so am I.
This isn't easy, Emperor Schwab. The economy's already on thin ice. Raising interest rates now would shatter the lives of so many Canadians. This is the economy we're talking about, not a monopoly game.
But Emperor Schwab says that it's for the greater good.
I always liked being the car.
For some reason, I like being the dog.
If you raise the rates, my billionaire buddies could buy. Oh, half of Toronto. You see, Tiff, another small hike of, let's say, 200 bips and voila. My billionaire pals get to scoop up all the assets.
This is a cartoon-level evil plan, Emperor Schwab. I won't stand for this. This isn't a joke. This isn't a game. This is about real people's lives.
You'll do as you're told, Tiff. Or shall I remind you of who really runs the world?
I took this position to serve the people of Canada, not to become your evil slave to your stupid games.
I wish I could say that.
Same here. Oh, please. This altruism is so last century. Besides, a little economic chaos is good for character building.
I won't allow you to turn Canada into some hellscape for your billionaire friends.
Oh, you will, Tiff. You will. Or your pristine reputation will face a little turbulence.
Oh, for God's sakes, it must be time for the Canadian real estate show.
All right, TK.
Bill,
Welcome.
did anything happen this week? We've got some Trev numbers coming out. I got
I
lots of
feel like
topics to talk to
nothing
you about.
happened. Yeah.
I
You
feel
got
like
stuff?
the recession is the very first thing that people want to know about because chances are in our
recession?
thumbnail, it alluded to the economy crashing.
I would imagine. But last week it said recession. I mean, but we've been talking that, haven't we felt like
but we
there's a
find-
recession? But for a while, like some people definitely have felt like there's a recession here for a long time, like a year,
I know.
maybe more.
Well, technically, we're in stagnation. I mean, the market has just not been growing since May. It just goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, and we're just like, we're even, Steven. What's going on?
Even Steven since
Steven.
May.
Since May. That's a long time.
Is that a
That's a lot of
long
months.
time? Why, we're just kind of dancing on a line here with
We're just
with
dancing
what?
on a line, right? So
With
everyone's
what?
kind of like
Average price?
the GDP. We're talking
The
about economic.
GDP. Oh,
Yeah.
GDP is total bullshit.
Why?
Why?
I mean, they measure it, and so therefore it's a consistent metric. So whether or not it's
Do we even know how they
an
measure
important
that
metric or
baloney?
not, they're still measuring it the same way.
But do we
Right.
know even how they measure it?
Well, you know what, Daryl? I think that's for another show with
That's for
smarter
another show
people.
with smarter people. Okay,
and
so we
audiences who care more.
assume that they're measuring it in a way that looks out for the greater good of the people, though, right? That's the general assumption.
I think what it is it's kind of like when you go to your party with all your friends and you're just kind of like, hey man, what kind of car do you drive? Hey man, where are you guys going on vacation? Hey man, like those type of things. The government's all, when they get together, they're like, hey, what's your GDP? Oh
Right.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look what ours is.
Yeah, but what's yours per capita, dickhead? Huh?
Somebody get this guy out of here.
Yeah, get
Who
this
even
guy
brought
out of
France?
here. Jesus
Jeez.
Christ. TK, are we officially in the recession? Is this like the word? Have we actually fallen into it? Doesn't matter.
Recession, it doesn't matter whether you're in one or not. It's not like anything changes. Like
what? Nothing changes in a recession?
Daryl, it's that time again.
Thank God, because we need it.
What is going on out there? I need you to subscribe to the channel.
Please.
Everybody's subscribing to the channel. Why aren't you subscribing to the channel?
Like,
which channel?
Everybody is doing
this
it.
Channel.
What's wrong with you?
What about the Clips channel?
Either channel would be fine.
If you're watching and you're like, I don't want to listen to these guys talk for an hour, go to Canadian Real Estate Show Clips channel and subscribe to that jazz.
But just honestly, for God's sakes, do me a favor. Stop being so goddamn lazy and just press something.
Please subscribe. And
well, what? Nothing changes in a recession?
Nothing does change. People's behavior changes based on the media telling them whether they're in a recession or not.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
It's not like you lose your rights. It's not like you don't get invited to the parties anymore. They're like, Canada's in a recession.
No, but
they
when
can't
you
come
get
to
in
Switzerland this year.
But
That's
when
not
you
how
get
it works.
invited to the party, TK, you think again. You're like, shit, I'm gonna have to pay for gas. I'm gonna have to buy a present. I'm gonna need a sitter.
Right?
All of a sudden,
you carpool.
Right? Oh, you carpool. Right. So even with a carpool, like that party's costing you $100, at least $100. The babysitter's probably $100. How much is a babysitter with inflation these days?
Isn't it crazy how much a babysitter is?
I don't even know.
I had somebody tell me this week what they should do with their kid because they're watching their kid. And I just said, just bring him. I said, just don't even worry about it. Just bring the kid with you and just have them, sit on your lap or something like that and tell everyone where to go. I had to bring my kid one time to an appointment and we were selling a house and we were going to Wonderland. And my son's like, we're going to Wonderland. I promised him we're going to Wonderland. Like, I'm not backing out of this, right? Like, we're going. And so then I get an offer on the property. And I'm like, crap, because it's like on the way to Wonderland.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what do I do? Right. So I call up the people and they're old, right? Like they're like, over 80. And I was like, I can come, we can do the offer, but I got to bring my kid. So they're like, yeah, sure, let's go. Let's do it. So I said, okay, I'm on my way. I bring my kid, they meet, they love him. They set him up. They get him milk and cookies and all sorts of stuff. And he gets his iPad out and he's just down in their basement having fun. So we're like going through everything and we're all, negotiating the offer back and forth.
Dad? How much longer? You said we're going to Wonderland.
He's going crazy.
How much longer, Dad? What the hell?
He's going crazy. And they're very like,
ever.
They're slow moving. They're like, oh, we need to think about it. And this was a great offer. Like we had been like, the fact that we got this offer was like incredible, but it took them a while to process because they've been in the house for a long time, custom built it, all that kind of stuff. Long story short is I finally looked at them and I said, I'm not sure what time Wonderland closes today, but if I don't get to take my son soon, we may not be able to go. And they're like, okay, we should accept the offer. Let's do it.
No way.
What
a great strategy.
I thanked Connor afterwards. I said, Connor, we just sold a house because of you. I said, way to go.
Holy.
Yeah.
How
and
did we
they're
get onto
super
that
happy.
story?
They're super happy because now it's like 3 or 4 months later and the prices went down because this was like near the spring almost, right? Prices were higher then and their price probably went down. It was like I don't know what it was, but almost
interesting strategy. People should try and use that strategy now because it doesn't seem like too many other strategies are working.
Bring your kids to the offer presentation date. Be like, look,
bother the
shit
this
kid
out of the seller.
Come on.
Yeah. Somebody
tell the other agents. Tell the agents that you got to get your client up.
So we're all over the place here. So do you want to talk about the statistics that just came out? Because you put out a wonderful newsletter. If people aren't already, how do you subscribe to your newsletter, TK?
All you got to buy is 3 houses within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And, refer me to 8 of your friends. But other than that, it's pretty
Seems
easy.
reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you leave a comment, or you just try to like reach out to me or something like that, but you'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Well, so it shows here, like it doesn't look so terrible if you look month over month.
Yeah,
It doesn't even look so terrible
we're
if you look year over year.
prices are up year over year, slightly 3.5%. You know, prices are slightly up $5,000 average price from the month of September. The one thing that I would always look at is just like months of inventory, sales, new listings, that kind of stuff. Sales have creeped up a little bit. We're almost kind of like, you know, we're a low October, but it's not like unreasonably low like September was. September was like scary low, the total number of sales, but new listings actually went down. So it means that
New listings went down.
yeah. So it's like all those new listings that came
Hold
on
on,
in September.
active listings. Where are we at with active listings month over month, TK?
Well,
Because we don't give a shit about new listings. That's a load of
why do you gotta
malarkey.
put me on the spot here? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, I thought by now we would have learned that new listings is a load of horseshit,
sure.
haven't we?
So new listings are up 38% year over year, but
new
they trended
listings,
down from
month over month.
the month over month. Active listings are up 50% year over year.
And
Okay.
month
Which
over
is
month.
month over month. Dun, 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 dun.
I love how everybody looks at year over year. I mean, have you
Slightly
looked at
up higher, slightly up higher.
up higher?
Yeah.
So, so listings are up.
Bottom
Sales are
line
still
is
shit.
sales have also creeped up a little bit too. So we're not seeing an increase to the months of inventory, which is the whole point of what I'm trying to say. And so
Not seeing a
months of
big
inventory
increase,
is remaining stable. Condo, it's increasing a little bit more than detached, but detached houses are doing fantastic. So I think
How the fuck is this, eh? How the hell have we not had the flood? I mean, if you look at certain pockets, though, like there's some pockets that have some scary mounting amounts of inventory at very high price points. And those people are getting clobbered, or at least not making anywhere close to what they thought they would make, right? But I guess you're saying overall, we are not seeing an uptick. That is actually quite miraculous, if you ask me.
Bottom line is this. When the market was changing in May, June 2022, we didn't know what prices were. We knew what they were last month, but they were higher. So you were like, what are prices today? Oh no, where should we price it? How do we sell this? What kind of strategy? So it was confusing, and it made people do some weird things that actually cost people a lot of money. But now, because there's so much consistency in the market, we're actually able to look at the numbers. We're able to look at the sales. We're able to look at the other listings that are active and say, okay, you know what? We need to price it here to get it sold. And it's pretty obvious. And so many sellers don't like the answer. Maybe many sellers have prices that don't make any sense. And I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. But at the end of the day, if you do want to sell your home, it's fairly easy. Like, you can price it and get it sold, within 30 days, which I think is a reasonable expectation.
So, but the people with unreasonable expectations or expectations from yesteryear, TK.
Yeah.
Those people, are they dropping their prices, or are they taking them off, or are they just sitting around waiting? Because I know that there's one on my street.
In my experience, they're waiting, and they're just letting it expire, and they are going to wait till the spring. There's a ton of people who right now, and for a lot of people, waiting for the spring is probably going to be a good idea.
Probably going to be a good idea. Why, TK? Why? What happens in the spring?
Well, I mean, just based on the outlook right now that the Bank of Canada is giving, just based on, us going into, a technical recession eventually, I don't think rates are going to go up any further. And so I think I think every time the rates go up, it just like scares people. And so right now, like I've done a couple buy deals recently. Buyers are just like, okay, I've been waiting to buy, and everyone keeps telling me, my uncle told me it's going to drop 30%. My neighbor told me this. I watched that guy lose, but I'm not seeing those prices. And so they become impatient, and eventually they pull the trigger and buy. And so if rates don't rise, I'm not saying they're going to go down, but if rates don't rise much further, then over the next 6 months, buyers are eventually going to be like, I need a place to live. And everyone keeps telling me not to buy, but they told me to buy back in January 2022. And my friends who bought now all regret it. And they're all, sitting around broke, and they can't go out, and I'm not seeing them anymore because they're working 3 jobs. And now my uncle's telling me not to buy. Why would I listen to him? Let's just go out and buy.
You know who you should listen to? This guy. Okay. If there's anybody that any of us should already know by now, we can trust completely, and we should listen. Of course it's Tiff. Tiff tells the truth. I think that's what the T in TIFF really stands for, is truth. TK,
I don't think he intentionally lies to anybody. I think he learned his lesson from too much forward guidance, because in the last interview, people are asking him questions. He's like, I'm not going to give you a yes or no answer. He's very like, he learned.
But he just said that we're going to maybe like not wait for 2% now to cut rates.
That was what one of the people in the Bank of Canada's staff said. I think it was the deputy governor. She said it won't take inflation to get down to 2%. As soon as we see that inflation has stabilized and that it's reasonable to say that it will eventually reach 2%, then we can begin to lower rates.
So we saw it at its heyday, like at 8.5 or something, 8.41%. And now we're down to like, what? Are we 3 something? 3.4? What are we at? I don't know. Anyways,
so what are you talking about?
Like CPI? No, CPI.
Oh, CPI.
Sorry, right? I thought we were talking about inflation right now.
We are, yeah. But I was just confused there. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, way back when it was over 8%. Now I think we're under 4% for sure.
We're doing great.
We're doing great. Track, and so they're kind of like, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Right?
They're dancing.
But TK says they're not going up. And we know they listen to the show now. So probably everybody can expect rates to just stabilize right now. Is that what you think? And so hold on a sec. When we analyze the CPI further and we dig down deep, and we've talked about this numerous times, the majority of the increase currently is that goddamn interest rate increase has just fucked up everything, right? And I know we need prices to come down and we need to reset the whole economy and blah, 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 blah. But like, how the fuck is anybody supposed to figure out anything when 1 minute they tell you rates will be on the floor forever, and the next minute you get the biggest raise in human history, the biggest, quickest raise in human history. And then when everybody's like, you know, you really should increase it more because inflation is going to keep coming back, and like, look around, all this inflationary stuff is happening. How can you stop raising rates? And they're like, you know, we don't really have to hit that target that we rushed so hard to get towards. Now, maybe we would consider kind of possibly lowering rates, or raising them maybe, but lowering is possible now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
How do you thank God for the forward guidance. TIFF.
Look, they're doing everything that they can, and they're basing it off of they've got the Bank of Canada playbook, right? They've got the central bank playbook that all the other countries' central bank has, and they're going, okay, you know, based on unemployment, okay, all right, good, immigration, okay, monetary policy, quantitative easing, okay, and they're going through all these different things to be able to navigate these waters, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't, you know, it would be like someone, you know, sailing across the Atlantic back in like the 16th century. You know, they learned from the, you know, few other journeys that they had gone through. Maybe they like head down to India or something like that, but they hadn't actually gotten across to North America yet. And so they had all these great ideas on what to do when this storm happens, or that wind, or that, you know, what is it? Red sky in the morn, sailors take warn, red sky at night, sailors delight. You know, they did all those things. But sometimes the boat sunk, okay? Sometimes the water got in and it went down, and then all those plays meant nothing. Yeah, and the other guy who was across the ship, it was his first time. He'd never been sailing. He did everything wrong, and he made it to the other side and, you know, plundered. But at the end of the day, no one really knows, right? No one really knows what it is that is going to happen. And so they're doing everything they can based on the playbook. And did they make some mistakes? 100%. But they know that, and I think they've learned from them. And I think that here going forward, they won't be giving us any forward guidance that they're not going to stand behind, because they took a lot of heat for that. So if they're telling us what they're saying now, I believe it more than I did before. And maybe I'm a sucker. Are you a real estate agent and you're looking to make a change anywhere in Ontario? Guess what? We're hiring. Franklin Associates, #1 team in the GTA for all RE/MAX teams, #1 team for all teams from all companies for number of units sold throughout Toronto. So if you're looking to make a change, best decision I ever made was to join Franklin Associates. Go to jointeamleo.com and we can set up a call.
So I mean, even though everybody always thinks that we're crazy or I'm crazy anyways, that, I mean, I keep talking that something's going to happen that's going to force them to lower rates and everybody thinks I'm nuts. But like,
Hey, is it just me or is it getting crazy here? Huh?
I mean, look at what's going on. How are they, like, what's it going to take, for Christ's sakes? I mean, have you seen what's going on around the world? And have you seen the pledges that country after country is making? And like, I mean, imagine how much it even costs just to send one of those aircraft carriers over to the Middle East from wherever the hell it was, right? Mm-hmm. Like, just, have you seen those things? There's like hundreds of planes on a boat, okay? Like, and like hundreds and hundreds of people on a boat, and like so much ammo and so many weapons, and like billions of dollars to just move over there. Forget about when it gets hit by something and sinks and they got to send another one in. But like, just all the aid, even like food and supplies and just cash that people send over, like just all of that has to, like, what did we pledge? $65 billion from Canada, or some stupid number, 165 million. Like, there's only 40 million of us. We're not a big country. Like, any amount of fake money injected into the system, like, makes a dent here. Right. And not only that, like, now CRA's giving people longer to do their taxes, which means they're not collecting more money, which means, like, how do they pay for everything from here, like, on out? And they're even like being more lax with the CERB repayments now. So people that don't repay the CERB, like, that's money that they were expecting like a few weeks ago, and now all of a sudden people aren't paying. Like, all this money still needs to come from somewhere, right? And meanwhile, we see the 5-year Treasury bond yield start to drop, right? And we start to see interest rates, fixed interest rates, people starting to go, hey, interest rates might tick down a little bit right now. Holy,
it's so stupid. People just put so much weight. Like, even what you were saying there about the CERB repayments, like, we spent like weeks talking about, once the CRA, they've got all these new staff members working for them, and the CERB payments, they will be, camping outside people's houses to retrieve the CERB. But wait till that happens. That's when the economy is going to die. And it's like, that didn't happen. Now they're basically saying, don't worry about it. Oh, pay me back. Don't worry about it. Everything that we've got right now in this sort of fear mongering type of society that we have, right? 9 out of 10 things don't come true. I'll even say 10 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 don't come true, right?
Okay, so
it's true. So even now, interest rates, because the bond, like, I love the bond market. The bond market. Like, they go on and on and on about it, and then they change their tune the next week. And then the next week, it's the bond market's going the other way. And everyone says, this is what it means. This is what it means. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Anybody who's ever read any charts, let's talk about something here, okay?
Have right we now not in the been stock talking market about something already?
This is something else.
Okay, let's change topics. Yeah.
Where this comes from, okay, is recently Zillow acquired a company called Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss is our CRM that we use, and a lot of real estate people use. It's got to be the biggest one in North America. Zillow, being the real estate company that they are, failed miserably with their iBuyer type of transactions, where they basically just bought people's houses and they lost like $500 million. And then now they've bought Follow Up Boss, a tech company that has a CRM. Do you know about this, Darryl?
No,
I do not. Give me your best guess what they paid, based on
$8 billion.
Okay, a bunch of real estate agents. How many are there? There's 2 million in America.
Toronto?
There's 200,000 in Canada, something like that. Okay. All right. Go. How much did they pay for that?
I guessed already. 8 billion.
It's not 8 billion.
2 billion.
$400 million.
That's it
for this. Come on. Anybody who, like, if you started
just up a CRM,
first of all, it started in your basement. Then eventually, maybe you got an office space, and now you're selling for $400 million to Zillow.
Yeah, it's
what
pretty
a jackpot
good.
Those guys hit
for sure.
Do you think they have $400 million worth of value in their business? Absolutely not.
Strongly Well, I don't know. I don't know what the hell
Absolutely.
they do. But
Absolutely not. And so where this
isn't the
comes from,
data that they have worth $8
no,
billion
it's our,
these days?
no, that's like, you can't like take the real estate agents, clients, but
Okay.
regardless, listen,
What the hell are we talking about?
tech companies right now, valuations on the stock market.
They're starting to get hammered, aren't they?
They don't, but they don't make any sense.
No,
Nobody's making any money.
they're going down. These
Nobody's
guys are
making
going
any
down
money. So
soon.
all these people, so people right now are so fixated on like, you know, tech companies and how much their valuations are and, you know, this tech boom and where they think prices are going and everything else like that. These companies aren't worth anything. These companies are they're not profitable. They just keep on using their investors' money. You know, they keep burning through that each time it comes up. You know, they're trying to raise more money and diluting their shares and trying to be able to get more and more investors to pile in on the debt cycle. There's a lot of tech companies that are going to go belly up. Case in point, WeWork, right?
We were
$46
gone
billion
again.
company, right?
46 my balls, man. That was
That's what
never
I'm
worth $46 billion ever, except on a napkin in what's his
Okay.
name?
In
Chucky
Starbucks.
son. What's his name? Whatever son. The
Look,
guy who runs it.
yeah,
What's his name?
these it doesn't matter because the bottom line is this is exactly how all these bubbles go, and the tech bubble is no different, right? And so the point I'm trying to make
Is
here
this another tech bubble?
everybody's got all these big ideas about the bond market and the stock market and all that kind of stuff. There's so many other factors that are going to be coming into play that will determine the path, and trying to guess what the heck is going to happen.
Yeah, it's the biggest whack-a-mole game ever.
It makes no sense.
It's
and if
crazy.
You're still doing it with such certainty, you're driving yourself crazy, right?
Well, what is happening as a result of all these interest rate raises, which I don't know. I mean, I think people that really do understand economics understand that the bonds kind of lead the way on things. I don't profess to understand it myself. I think it's kind of dumb, but
yeah,
me thinking it's dumb.
That's like saying this. This is like, okay, this is like saying this, okay? You know, when it rains, the clouds come first.
It's gonna get wet.
Listen, every time it rains, I see clouds. Guys, there's clouds here. High probability of rain. You know, like it makes no sense. Sorry, I'm getting excited here.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but what?
Bottom line is, yeah, of course, if the bond rates are going up, then there's going to be an increase in the fixed rate terms because people are going to expect higher returns in order to be able to invest.
Right.
But as soon as the bond rates go down, then they'll say, well, fixed rates are going to go down again. So yeah, one is a precursor to the other, but it's not like it's going to predict the long-term cycle every single time. Maybe over 20, 30 years, they look at the data and they say, well, see how it predicted it. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, you know, what's going to happen over the next 12 months, you know, what's going to happen over the next 6 months.
Well, we're seeing a lot of power of sales. Like these rates have pushed a lot of people into, I guess, default, which here in Canada, you're, I guess, instantly allowed to start the power of sale proceedings, right? So
private institutions. I personally don't remember any A lender power sales. Oh God.
It's getting harder and harder.
I know.
Okay,
I haven't seen any A lender power sales.
You see graphics and statistics of these power sales increasing exponentially. The thing is that exponential total, at least in GTA, is like 80. Okay, like 80 power sales in a month.
I sent one today to a client,
which sucks for those 80 people. But I mean, it's not really changing the market. The problem is these fuckers who take $300,000 less than peak and they don't need to, but they're desperate and they fuck up everything for everyone around them, right? That's the real fuck up. It's those really, like, why'd you wait so long, you dumb fuck? You knew you were fucked already. Like, what did you think was gonna happen in a month from now? Like, were you gonna win a lottery? Was that
the other side that you don't
dummy?
see is the people who are also buying. This mustache is itchy. The people who are also buying.
It's in my nose.
Here, I got a great offer for you, Joe. I got an offer on your property, $5 million, but it comes with a condition.
Oh yeah. Is the condition that you pay more than I paid for it, at least, for God's sakes?
The condition is that you must buy a house in the same neighborhood for $6 million.
Okay. That's good.
Are you happy you're getting $5 million now?
Maybe. Yes, I am.
No, you're not, because
I'm
you would
not?
never pay $6 million for another house in your neighborhood.
Not right now, but I
Exactly. But
I'd
that's the
say
condition.
I would. Oh.
You have to. No, that's the condition. Here's another scenario. Darryl, I'm going to buy your property for $500,000, and I'm going to prove to you that you're going to be happy. Do you believe me?
Yes.
Good. Because I'm going to buy your home for $500,000,
Ooh.
and I'm going to sell you the one across the street for $250,000.
Ooh.
Pick anyone you want across the street.
Do you own the
Pretty
one
happy,
across
aren't
the
you?
street? In this scenario, I feel like I might be happy. Although I feel
Good.
like I would be moving into a really shitty house for
It
$250,000.
proves to you that the sale price of your property when you're buying and selling is irrelevant.
Well, I'll be
It's
honest
irrelevant.
with you. As like the rest of the show so far today, I am not following what the hell you're really getting at.
I'm all jacked up today. Okay, this is my fourth tea.
I
Things.
don't know what the hell you're talking
I'm wearing a
about
mustache.
Right now. So,
Listen, Darryl, if you have to
I'm
sell
pretty
a home right
sure-
now, you're upset with the person selling 300K below peak.
Yeah.
But if they bought the house that they wanted to
Below
buy for
peak,
400
man.
below peak that they were going to buy last year because they're upsizing,
the fuck
It's a
do I
win.
care what they did?
well, it's a win. That's why they're
I
moving.
care, and everybody else who sells a house or a property cares about what the fuck they get relative to what they were expecting to get, right?
Okay, let's just run real numbers here. I'm going to run real numbers here. Let's just, how much do you want to
It's
sell your house
not
for?
relative to the
Tell me.
next thing that I plan to buy, TK.
Tell me.
What?
Yes, it is. How much do you
No,
want to
it's
sell your house
not.
for right now? What would you take an offer for your house? Tell me right now.
$800,000, TK.
Okay. I'm going to make you an offer for $2.5 million for your house.
Okay.
All right. And now you guys want to upgrade to a bigger house.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's bigger. It's nicer. It's in a better neighborhood.
Okay.
And I'm going to
Sounds good
sell it
so
to
far.
you for $2.5 million.
So I'm selling my house for 2.5 and I'm buying
Yeah.
a new one for 2.5.
A bigger, better one in a better neighborhood for 2.5.
Sounds like a no-brainer to me, TK.
Great. Now you're moving.
Okay. Now I'm moving.
No issues. Now
No issue.
I'm gonna sell your house for $1.5 million.
Okay. This is
I'm
my
gonna sell you
new
the
one?
exact
My
same
new
house that you were just about to buy for 2.5. I'm gonna sell you the exact same house for 1.5 as well.
Did I sell my house for 2.5 already?
No, 1.5.
Yeah.
Now I'm selling your house for 1.5.
Okay.
And we're gonna move into the same house you were just happy moving into 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
For the same price. And you're gonna buy that one for 1.5.
Okay.
Are you not happy? Don't lie to me.
Hold on, but like 3 minutes ago, I thought I could sell my place for 2.5.
Darryl, you're not playing the game here, all right?
Because
you
it's
know what I'm
so
saying is
dumb.
true. It is.
Only
The
if
sale
all I
price is
care about
irrelevant.
is the next house. But if I care about getting the value that I
You're caring about
perceive-
profit.
of course I
You're
am.
thinking
It's
about
Canada.
profit. Profit means
Well,
nothing. And
Profit
buying and
means
selling in the
nothing?
it means nothing.
What are
Darryl,
you talking about?
I'll give you another example. I'll give
Profit
you another
means
example.
nothing.
I bought the house for $200,000.
Hold on. I'll give you an example. You
Yeah.
sell my house for 2.5 and
Yeah.
I decide to go buy one for 1.5.
Yeah.
Well, later on, I won't be happy that you tell me you could sell mine for 1.5 if you already bought it for 2.5.
That makes no sense. We're going backwards. We're
None
going in
of it
circles here.
makes sense.
Don't worry. People who are listening understand what I'm trying to say. You're attached an emotion on profit, and you're not
No.
attached to the facts, which are if you sold your house and bought another property.
What if
the
I
only
wasn't
thing that matters
buying
is
another
the equity that
property?
You transfer from one house to the next, the total debt that you're going to have at the end of the day, and how much your monthly payment is. That's the only thing that matters in buying and selling. The sale price, purchase price, those two things are just fugazi.
What the
I'm telling you.
hell?
I'm telling
No.
you. It is.
It's not. You're supposed to care about the price. Okay.
You're not
supposed to care about
Not
the
when you're buying and
profit.
selling in the same market because you're
No, when you're-
moving.
If all you care about is the delta between the new purchase and the old purchase,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But
Yes.
if you thought your house was worth 1.7, Okay.
Why did you think it was worth 1.7?
Because it was until
Well,
that
the bottom line is
motherfucker
you
down
didn't
the
have
street
an
sold
offer.
his for
You didn't have
1.5,
an
right?
offer to accept, so it wasn't worth anything.
Right,
And so
well.
the only thing that should matter when people are buying and selling is that delta. And the bottom line is, yes, there are people who are stalled in this market because they can't wrap their head around that fact. And they're not selling because they're sitting on the market maybe at a high price, or they're saying, oh, it's not a good time to move. It's not a good time to sell the market. So it's a great time to move. Think about this. Hear me out, Joe. Hear me out. Hear me out. 2021, 2022. Okay.
Yeah.
Every house you went to go see, you saw for 15 minutes. You only had one chance to see it. You had to make a decision within 3 or 4 days on how much you were going to bid over asking to beat the next guy. And each time you went into one of those situations, you lost until eventually you got sick and tired and you bought a house that you barely liked because you felt like there was no other options. That is not a good environment to move in. How many people are living in houses right now that they hate, that have more problems than they expected, that paid more than they thought, and that they are miserable because now they're in a house they don't like? So it's much better to move in an environment where you can go and look at houses multiple times, maybe even twice before making an offer, get a financing, home inspection condition, negotiate on the price, do everything so you know exactly what you're buying because you and your family are going to be there a long time. That's how you buy a property. So if you're buying and selling, that's a better market to be moving in. And you just have to navigate it correctly. You might be selling first, you might be buying first, you might have a condition on the sale of your property, whatever it is. You got to look at your situation, but it's a better environment to be moving and buying and selling, guaranteed.
This I agree with. I see no correlation between the previous discussion and this point, but
because the
I can
sellers
to
right
you,
now
TK,
who
so
are
we
not
can move
moving
on.
are stalled for the wrong reasons. They're stalled because
they thought they were going to
I thought
get.
my house is worth more money, and so it's not a good time to move. And you know what they'll do? They'll wait till their house is worth the money that they thought. And guess how much the house that they're going to buy? Guess how much they're going to wait for their house to be worth 300 grand more. And guess how much the house that they want to buy is worth? 500 grand more, or whatever, close to 300. So it's a wash. So they waited for what?
Well, if they waited for how long, TK? Because if you wait for like 2 years to make another 300 grand, I'd say it matters, especially if you're buying something for another
300 grand more too, Darryl. What the hell does it matter there?
Well,
what are we kind of mathematicians are you doing over here? 3 plus 3 is 7.
If we were in the same studio, I'd be able to smack you in the back of the head and maybe set you straight. But for now,
it's impossible.
We're gonna use you'll put me into like some kind of crazy strangle.
Right, let's move on. BC's no longer got Airbnbs.
Is that the next most important thing? Okay, yeah.
Isn't it?
I mean, I think that is something that is rocking their market out there, but I wouldn't know. I haven't really. I mean,
drop
I hear
a line in the
a little
comments
bit of complaining.
If you guys think that that's something that's going to be a big thing in the market over there.
I gotta think it's going to make a
Toronto when
big
it happened, it
for
affected the condo market. But was that the only
it
thing
happened
that
here?
The condo market? Toronto, remember when they changed the Airbnb rules?
Yeah, but then they just ban it outright in BC, like it's gone completely.
But
that's a lot of units, I'll bet, out there.
Yeah.
But I'm not well versed in this topic. But I would imagine that if all of those all of a sudden could no longer be rented short term, a lot of the math doesn't make sense anymore, right?
Let's
and
talk
a lot
about
of those
Airbnb.
things have to disappear. Yeah.
Let's talk about Airbnb. Is it a good service to have?
My daughter's living in one at the moment, and it's not the best service ever. I used it once for a cottage, and it was like you got there and it was like pretty bad, and you can't really do anything about it.
I use it, and I think in cities it's the stupidest thing. We should all be in hotels where things like make sense. I think that if you want to do short-term rentals, you can find somebody through like a private means on a website. Like you can just Google short-term rentals in the area you want, and you can find somebody who's doing it. But the Airbnb model, again, another one of these tech companies who's probably not making any money. I don't know for sure, but it's just one of those things that, has come out because it's a big fad and that people are using it, and it's wrecking the hotel industry. So now our hotels are full of homeless people.
Yeah,
right.
And the city is paying the hotel's market rent plus 10% to house homeless people in hotels, while people are paying ridiculously inflated prices because it's easy to press a button right? You don't even get to see the place, okay? You don't even get to know the address, like the actual address. So it's like you get these pictures of a place from God knows when, right? Like when it was like at its best. And you get all these promises about the area and the facilities and everything. And then you get there and you're in the hood. Okay. There's machine guns going off when you pull up. And the place smells like fish everywhere. And the pool is closed because it's under renovations.
Yeah.
The gym smells.
It was being
like
used by
piss.
like, drug dealers the week before. Now somebody's knocking on your door again, trying to find Jose. I get it.
And
so
look, if you're not
to
from
save $10
here,
a night on a hotel, like that's what
maybe you
we
don't
did
even
here.
save. It's like there's no hotels, or maybe you think you're saving, or you're closer to where you need to be, or some stupid shit.
It's the same as Uber actually when you think about it too.
Uber's the worst now.
Uber,
have you taken an Uber lately? It's
I haven't taken Uber for a while,
from
but
downtown.
like, there's just no like regulation there. It's just like
it's insane.
Bring back the taxis, man.
Saturday night from downtown to where I live is $80. And it used to be, I used to complain it was $35, $40. And now it just doubled out of nowhere.
Well,
on
Saturday
top of
night,
the inflated meal price, right? And God knows what else you had to spend, like to get there, somebody's hair, somebody's nails. I'm not naming names, but like going out is a goddamn fortune if you got a Uber somewhere, right? This is all getting crazy. But hold on, we were talking about power of sales. Did we finish that topic?
I got another one. I got another topic.
Okay.
Right. The lawsuit in the States was just won by Missouri. So basically what happened was people got together and they're like, those realtors are making too much goddamn money. Those suckers making me pay buyers commissions. I can't believe it. And so like $1.7 billion or something like that was awarded to this class action group of people against
Everybody
like all the real estate people. So like the North American Real Estate Association, like which is like their national board, or National Association of Realtors, sorry, NAR. Remax had settled, so they got out. A few other companies, big companies, all the big brands were all involved, and so it was like $1.7 billion, something like that, was awarded. Now there'll be appeals and all that kind of stuff, but basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to tell the consumers that they shouldn't be paying buyers commissions. It should be buyers paying their own commission. So buyers should pay their agent their own commission. So let's just work this out right now, okay? And you're a buyer, okay? And you're going to buy $1 million house. It's a 2.5% fee, for example. I don't think we're allowed to say that, but 2.5% fee, $25,000 commission. If you were to go and pay that in full, do you think a lot of buyers have 25 grand kicking around?
Does the buyer not pay the commission regardless?
Exactly. They're paying it in the price.
One way or another, that buyer's paying all the commission.
It's a mortgage. And over those 25 years, it's costing them $150 a month, whatever it is. Okay.
Instead of just paying a fee on closing.
Instead of them having to pay this cash up front. So the buyers, it's better for them if the fee is all part of the deal itself. Okay. So no matter what, that's a broken model. Next, the sellers. Mr. Seller, do you want to sell your home for the most amount of money? Yes or no?
Both commissions should come out of the purchase price.
They do. That's how it works. But they're in the States, they're trying to make that so that it's separate. So if you want to sell for the most amount of money, I suggest we have as many buyers come and look at your property as possible. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how, if you pay $25,000 to a buyer's agent, it will net you at least that $25,000 or more. Are you okay if you don't have to pay a buyer's commission? Would that make you happy knowing that you got the most amount of money? Of course it would. And so talking to a seller, you can give them the option and say, we'll let the buyers pay their own commission, or we'll tell all the buyer agents to bring all their buyers to you and we'll pay them the commission from the purchase price that they get their buyers to pay, which will include the commission, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Why is this even a topic? Why is this even something that people are talking about? You know why? Because realtors make too much money. That's why.
Well,
nobody likes
But
somebody who makes too
I
much
said
money.
it a long
Realtors make too
time
much
ago
money.
to you. Like everybody's income went up in the last 2, 3, 4 years, and it had nothing to do with their effort. It had nothing to do with their skill level. It had
Yeah.
not everybody. Okay, like I'm
Look,
overgeneralizing.
no.
You, of
It's a vast
course.
majority of people.
Some people are great and they're
Basically, they did
skilled.
not increase the
They didn't do
amount
fuck
that their
all.
income did over the last 10 years. You got a little bit better, but you got paid a lot more.
A
So
lot more for
I agree.
nothing, for
I agree.
nothing. As all of the buyers and sellers see a trend of like all you did was list the house. You didn't even do anything, right?
Yeah.
Like this was the way for a long time.
Yep.
And so of course everybody's like this doesn't make any sense and there's a housing crisis. It's TK, nothing makes sense. And everybody, so we're going to sit here like we always do. We're going to nitpick on like a couple little things and then they don't change and we're still here. And then we're like, prices are higher somehow now, or they're like not budging, which is crazy, right? People, so is everybody so wealthy in the city that they can just kind of put their like just kind of cross their arms and say I'm going to wait until I get my price. I don't need to sell right now. I don't give a fuck. My mortgage is so low that like I'll
Definitely
just
the
take that
majority of
6%.
people. Yeah.
And there's just like because
Remember,
even
42% have
80,
no mortgage.
so 80, even if it turns to 160 a month power of sales, like does it change things? Is that a big number now?
No.
So how many power of sales do we need to really fuck this market up? And then what happens to all these power of sales if rates stay where they are? Are people able to like, because if rates stay where we are we assuming that prices are going down or they're going to start going up again? Like we're already seeing them go up. Although, you know, what's weird is, you know, the numbers say up, but then I saw this. GTA condo sales dropped 47% as would-be buyers priced out, but that doesn't seem
When I
to
was
be
looking at
alive.
articles, it was so funny to hear like what Better Dwelling or Stories or CBC, like everybody had a different headline for this month's numbers, and they are all basically spinning the story a different way.
But it's crazy. Like you got they're talking about people walking away from $300,000 deposits.
Yeah.
And you got people saying that the market's down 47%. And then the numbers come out. Like, what are they looking at? What condos are down 47%?
Yeah.
New sales on condos or something?
No, they're talking about sales. They're about sales.
But the
That was
numbers
total
that
sales
came
across
out,
the board.
it doesn't agree. Does it?
Well, I don't know exactly what they're talking about, but if we look
I
at
don't know what the fuck they're talking
if we look
about.
at condo sales,
Can you imagine walking away from a $300,000
we're
deposit on a new house?
down 0.2% year over year total condo sales in the Toronto Real Estate Board.
Right. So what the hell's this 47% article here? Who is this reckless fucker?
These are reckless media.
Who is this reckless
what
Clara Pasica?
How dare you, Sarah?
CBC, from the
How
CBC.
dare you? CBC.
What are you saying here? What is this shit?
Those 300K deposit holders.
Condo sales have dropped 47% in 2023 to a 10-year low as high interest rates. Oh, for the year. For the year, TK. For the year. Who the hell reads the article though? So everybody's reading this going, holy shit,
so that's absolutely right. And all sales are down year over year. I mean, year to date.
Sales are down 47% and the prices are hanging in there and inventory isn't piling up like at insane levels. What the hell is happening? How is this possible? Is it because Tiff gave us a little inkling into his potential future plans, TK?
I think that the bottom line is none of this stuff means anything, and that when people want to buy real estate, they don't care about the rate, they don't care about what it looks like. They're gonna put a roof over their family's home, and that's it. And when they don't think real estate's a good investment, they don't care if the government's giving out free money, they're not going to buy. And so sentiment is always going to be what's in charge. And right now, the sentiment's very low. The average person does not want to buy real estate. They don't think it's a good time to buy, to sell, to get involved. They're being cautious. And until we get more and more people buying again and more people being confident in the long-term sustainability of the Toronto real estate market and Canadian real estate market as a whole, we're going to see very low sales until then. It's the way it goes. I don't sweat the small stuff.
Very low
You know,
sales.
there's people who need to
into-
move, people who need to buy, people who need to sell. There's always transactions. You know, things will keep moving, and the people who focus on all these things are, you're not helping yourself. Focus on the things that matter the most. You know,
Well, but what are
where
you
you're gonna
supposed to
live,
focus on when you're up for a renewal on your mortgage and you just
income and
got it
expenses,
and it's like,
income
what?
and expenses.
Income and expenses. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's do a typical guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Typical guy. I don't even know. What does a typical guy make these days? 100
He
grand,
makes
80 grand,
2 grand
120
a
grand,
week, so gross. So he's 100 grand a year, 2 grand a week, and takes home
50 grand, 60 grand. You take
whatever it
home?
is.
Holy jumping.
1,500
Jesus
bucks, 1,200
Christ.
bucks. I don't
Okay. So this guy who was doing okay, bought a house 10 years ago and, wanted to keep up with everybody else. And as the price of his house went up, he refinanced. And over 10 years, he supplemented his income with very, very cheap money by using his house as an ATM. And this is not a far-fetched scenario, is it, TK? This is a fairly realistic scenario. Now, forget about credit cards and lines of credits that most people probably add on top of that, right? But
Mhm.
I guarantee you, over that 10 years, his wage did not increase. What did increase is likely his age and the size of his belly. Okay. And probably
Low
the
blow.
expectations and the needs of his growing family, right? Which leads to higher
But
expenses.
when are we going to get into the numbers here? Okay.
Well, but the thing is the numbers.
So what would I
for
tell the
wage-
guy?
No, but
I would say,
what does
listen.
this guy do? Okay. When
what
he
does
has
he
to
do?
renew his $800,000 mortgage now
Yes.
at 6%.
So he needs to consolidate all his debt because anything out there is higher. Whether
Into
it's
a debt consolidation loan?
No, okay. You go and you get your place refinanced because if you got a car payment right now, it's 10%. If you got a credit card payment, it's 20 to 30%. All those things need to be put into one payment, one low payment of 6.5%
How?
as a first
TK?
mortgage.
In a debt
Because he bought the house 10 years ago.
consolidation, right?
He's gonna take on a mortgage. It's a first mortgage, and it's gonna be at 6.5%. Great. So now he's making one payment, and you're gonna say, buddy, you don't spend $1 on your credit cards. You don't spend $1 on anything
Did you
else.
just roll that into the mortgage?
Yeah.
Everything? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way it's a lower interest rate.
Got
So
it.
that way he cuts off his interest. He
Brilliant.
lowers the
Brilliant
amount of
move.
interest expense he has every single month.
Okay.
Then he's going to look at all his other expenses,
Yeah.
and he's going to figure out what he can live with and live without. And his
Okay.
kids, his wife, everybody's going to have to make sacrifices. Maybe it's one car, maybe
Like
it's
he's
taking
going to
a
have to
subway.
sacrifice his wife is probably the way to get out of this mess.
That's another story. But the bottom line is he's going to have to make some sacrifices on the expenses. Then Darryl, what he's going to do is
hold on.
he's
Let's
going to
just
look
stop
for
there
extra
for one sec.
opportunities. Yeah.
Just stop at the expenses, okay? Like, let's be real. I've been in this situation numerous times where I've had to look at the list of expenses and go, like, what the hell can we chop here? And okay, so you can chop. Okay, and in a scenario where houses are going down and nobody wants to sell and nobody wants to buy, selling the house isn't like right. We're looking at chopping.
We're not selling the house. We're doing everything but sell the house at this point.
Okay, so what do? We have a garage sale. We chop the cars down, right? And then what? Like what else?
So
is
vacations,
no vacations,
eating out,
eating out, no
buying
stuff
new
for the
clothes,
kids.
entertainment, all those things. You can easily cut out, let's say, $1,000 a month.
$1,000 and you have no life. You're stuck in this fucking house now.
Whose fault
the
is
hell
that?
wants to live like this?
Well, you should have thought about that over the last 10 years when you were borrowing out your
Should have thought about it.
Because these are the realities.
Right.
Because your other option is to sell your house. I'll sell your house tomorrow.
Why do they let you refinance it though? If they know that you're going to be fucked at some point. Why
then I would tell
allowed?
him, hey,
sorry.
Mr. Seller, now that we've looked at your budget, so we're going to create a budget. Let's
now
open
that
up
you're
your bank
still
accounts and your credit card
fucked,
statements,
right?
After
After you've done all
every
that,
dollar you spend every single month over the last 3 months, and let's figure out where we can cut back. Right?
Okay.
Now that we've done that,
yeah.
Here is our budget.
No more Netflix.
Where can we increase the income that you're currently making?
Kids,
how do we?
It's time to start a lawn care company.
You've got rent. So now, can your kids start contributing? Can they start paying rent? Can we rent out a basement apartment? Can we rent out a room?
Can we rent out a room?
Right? Can we
rent
start
out a
to look
basement?
at additional income like
pay
that?
For a kitchen.
Can we take on some overtime? Can we get a part-time job? Can our
This is
wife start
sounding
working?
amazing.
These are all the things that
This is great.
families have to do in tough times.
This is
Like,
great.
why is this a surprise to you? This is like
This
what
is
you do.
horrible. Yeah, but why are we having tough times, TK? Is it because the people are all a bunch of morons? Is it because of the populace?
Tough times create tough men. Tough men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create tough times.
Yes, TK. And we are walking into some tough times with some weak ass men.
Well,
and
who caused these times?
All these old.
We're all going to come out tougher from this. This is good news.
We're all going to come out tougher from this. This is good news. Okay, well, some of those people will learn a lesson. Some of those people are way too fucking old to recover from this. And God knows what their lives are going to turn into. Okay. I was on Twitter, X, and there's this big developer guy. I don't know how big he is, but I follow him and thousands of people follow him. And he just committed suicide a couple of days ago, apparently, because he was like guaranteeing all kinds of loans that were going to shit right now. Right. So like when people say it's no big deal, like, yeah, as an overall for the economy or for the country, it's no big deal. But as we go in and zoom in to the people's lives that are getting decimated and destroyed for really no good fucking reason, because the up was their fault and the down is their fault and all the shit in between is their fault, and it's not necessary. I know I keep saying 3% and no government, but I'm not joking. Like, all this other shit is unnecessary. There's no point to any of it. It's all just a bunch of horse shit. It's the way it works, but it shouldn't be. I don't even know who came up with this fucking ridiculous.
But the biggest thing that I find is that everybody wants to blame someone else. Even the Bank of Canada now is blaming the federal government's monetary policies, right? Everybody, the premiers are all blaming the Bank of Canada's monetary policy. Everybody is blaming someone else. Everyone's blaming TIFF because they look, take responsibility. If you can't look at yourself and see, your part to play in every situation in your life, then you'll always be looking for somebody else to blame. And, that's not a very easy problem to solve, right? If I'm the one who's at fault,
no, but I
can solve all my problems.
Yes. And there's always your part in it, of course. But to blindly say that there's no other components and there's no other parts or pieces.
But what's the difference between like let's say a 60-year-old man? What's the difference between him and his brother who had the same life and everything else, who's lived around the same time as he has and everything else, where one guy's got money problems because of the interest rates and the other guy paid off his mortgage 20 years ago? Like, one person might blame TIFF and say, I can't believe it. Well, the other brother's going to say, well, like, I paid off my mortgage 20 years ago. So why didn't you, Joe? Right? Joe doesn't want to take responsibility. He's blaming the government. He made decisions over the last 60 years that put him in that position to be.
That's a great example, TK. That is a great example, TK.
Now,
we don't know if the other brother was like murdering people to get ahead,
let's just assume they're twins and they have the identical personality and they look, everything and do everything the same. So bottom line is
they'd have a podcast together and they'd be on equal footing.
If they should have started a podcast.
That's the be all and end all of this entire episode, is that if you just start a podcast, you can get by in this crazy world.
Yeah.
And it won't make a difference because you can easily bring in like $30 an episode in ad revenue.
Man.
TK. What the hell did we even talk about this week? There really wasn't much going on. My list was not it's a barren list this week, TK.
Yeah.
Was it a lack of effort, or was like just nothing happening?
And Zillow, that's all.
It's all
realtor
shit.
Garbage.
WeWork, it's all just bullshit though. The numbers are bullshit. Everything's bullshit right now.
Everything's just made up.
It's all fictitious. It's really fictitious.
It's just, this is all a dream. Even this show, We're fake.
Are we gonna
Mustaches
wake
are
up?
fake.
The
The
mustaches
whole
are fake.
show is fake.
I couldn't even grow this thing if I wanted to.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Yours, maybe. Maybe I could sculpt
Mine's
something
pretty
to look
fake
like
looking.
that thing.
Yours is pretty aesthetically pleasing.
This thing, I suppose, depending on your perspective, it looks like my real beard is kind of blending into this thing. TK, I think what I got out of this, as usual, is absolutely nothing. But I did have fun.
Thanks to us.
Hopefully, we have some people listening and watching.
We've had some
at the
great
moment.
episodes. If the fact that there's
The
11,000
last
people
couple.
listening or watching to the show, like the last couple episodes, which is a big deal for us. You know, maybe
A
other
big deal
channels
for
have
us,
like
yeah.
200K Skrinko, but
8 billion.
11,000. That's a big deal. But we don't even have that
Almost
many
12.
subscribers. So it means that some of you are watching and not subscribing.
We do, however, have a
Hmm.
considerable percentage of people that do watch that are subbed compared to most. So we do thank you for that.
Oh,
but the
that's
rest
good.
of
Okay,
you,
that's good.
like, get
Yeah.
your shit together. It's a
Yeah,
fucking
hit the
button.
subscribe. Like, what's
It's
going on?
one fucking little button. Like, what are you doing? If you're listening to the show and you can't press a button for us, like, what are we, like monkeys
Who are we?
dancing here for
Who are
you?
we?
Like, what
Yeah.
is this crap?
Come
Are
on.
we
We're trying
entertaining?
to get paid here. All right. We need those subscribers.
Do
to
we
be,
amuse you?
we're trying to make a living over here. All right. Times are tough.
Amuse you.
All right.
Do you think we're funny, TK?
Probably not.
I don't think we're that funny, but some people do. So here we are, and there we go.
See you
TK,
next week.